So essentially, what I thought might be helpful is to go through a couple of things, perspectives that I know that we had starting out at Camden as a brand that kind of held us back, or maybe made kind of starting out and starting to do this work of doing your own branding or your own design like a little bit harder. So I think these are two things that you might have thought at some point, or I know that we thought at Camden as a young brand. You know, these kind of challenges can be a bit intimidating, but by using your own in-house resources, you can kind of really turn them to your advantage. So you might be thinking that your brand needs to look really polished and professional, like the big brands that you like. You know, that you need to kind of look instantly grown up. You might be kind of like worrying about the fact that you have to print your labels yourself, or worrying about the fact that you're not super, like, I don't know, whatever big brands have, that you don't have that capability. Equally, you might think, oh, you need to have everything designed and thought out already, like planning to, you know, you've been dreaming about building your brand for a while, so maybe you've been planning to like the most tiny detail everything that you want to do, and then it kind of, that can be kind of paralyzing. It can hold you back because you can think that, you know, I'm not ready unless I have everything sorted. But what I want to do is reassure you that these two challenges are things that you can turn to your advantage, and actually some of your biggest strengths as a small brand comes from not having everything figured out and not being super kind of polished and finished. Hold on. So yeah, essentially your brand doesn't need to look like the big brands that you like. Yes, it's always good to be professional, but if you're small, you don't need to look like a big brand. You should look like the best small brand that there is out there. So, you know, don't confuse looking professional with looking good or looking corporate, you know. So, you know, if you're a small individual restaurant, you don't want to look like a big chain, you know. If your product's handmade, you don't want it to look like it was made in a big factory. And the reason is that these are kind of product truths. These are your product benefits. They're your unique selling points. The fact that you're an individual restaurant, or the fact that your product's handmade by you, are really important benefits to them. And you want to make sure that you're communicating those benefits to your consumer so that they understand these are the things that are going to make them want to choose you. You don't want to be hiding them. So that's a huge positive. You need to just look the size you are, be the best small brand out there, but there's no need to grow up too fast in respect to that. Secondly, another big advantage in terms of looking like a small brand is that small brands can do things that big brands can't. A lot of really big brands have like Camden, or like huge brands like Innocent Drinks, have the philosophy that they want to act small but think big. So they want to be able to act in the kind of the way that small brands do, because those ways are really, really personal. So stuff like handwritten labels, hand deliveries, serving your own food, telling your story, being the face of your brand, are amazing opportunities and great things to do. The big brands have to spend a lot of money trying to fake looking like they're small and they can hand stamp their products. So like the background I've got here is like a lovely chocolate brand called Lucoco, who have beautiful packaging that has hand stamps on it. And that's something that like I've done myself in time as well. Like, you know, when we were a bit smaller, we had packaging that needed hand stamping. We had bottles that needed hand dipping in wax, and like all those things are so beautiful, and they make products look so special, and they're just a great opportunity. They're a great tool that you have as a small brand to kind of convey your premium status and your personality. In the same way, as I mentioned, you know, if you're growing and moving very fast, it's important that you as a brand are really agile and flexible. So you might think that you need to have everything designed already, like that, you know, if you have one product, you need to know what your brand would be like if it rolled out across the rest of the range. You might think, what would it look like if you have like a street food business? You might be thinking, what would my restaurant look like? And it's fantastic to be able to dream, but in no way feel like you have to have everything sorted already. It's so important to be able to be flexible. I think that one of the biggest things that I've learned is that just to only create and make what you need, because this allows you to change. So run everything really tight. So, if you need one logo for your one product, that's all you need. Do minimum runs of labels, only, don't buy too much stuff, because that will allow you that flexibility to change all the time, and not be held back by feeling like you need to keep things the same. And which brings me on to kind of my next point, which is don't be afraid to change. So here you can see some of the different packaging designs that we've had at Camden over the last 8 years. And I'd say that this is probably over the last 10 years, and most of these were in the first 5 years. That's when the most changes were. You need to be able to evolve and change quickly if you want to. There's no reason you need to be set on who your brand is or what you look like right now. And being small, doing things yourself will be what allows you to have that flexibility, because it is and was for Camden super expensive and annoying to pay designers to do all these different works. And we had the rest of the business saying, you just designed a label last year for this, we're still kind of basically paying for that in our budget, you can't do it again. So if you do things in-house, you can change as much as you like. We had times at Camden where we've sent out one batch of beer with all different labels on it because we weren't sure which we like best, and that's absolutely fine. You can do that as use that to your advantage. It's essentially it's like the kind of testing, or what they use is A/B testing. It's the kind of testing that, again, big brands pay lots of money to do, to get consumer opinions on loads of different products and designs. So go for it with that one. Then in terms of, so if those are the reasons I think why you should use in-house resources, and my kind of explanations of why you shouldn't be held back by some of some common kind of challenges, or I guess worries about building your brand and how you do your branding.